Hello, everybody. Hello, Bettina. How are you today?
Hello, Eric. Hello, everyone. I'm doing great.
Good.
Um, yeah, I'm doing good.
That's good.
How
How
are you?
how I'm doing really good today. I feel like I gave myself like a I've been feeling awesome. And then yesterday I had a day where I had some work planned up for my business and then my outside business, and then I had a baseball game that I was gonna be pitching at. And then the rain came. I woke up and the rain was still coming down and my whole day got washed out. And I was kind of bummed out about it, but I kind of gave myself the space to just feel what I was feeling and go through it. So I kind of had a day. And I think it's important once in a while, like to if you're feeling a little bit down, and I don't know if it was particularly because of that catalyst, but some days you just are feeling great, and some days you're a little bit lower. And when you are feeling lower, it's important not to distract yourself away from it and just kind of sit in it. And I feel like that was like a really good decision for me yesterday because I woke up today ready to kick some ass in my life. And uh, I feel like had I run away from it, had I gotten myself busy and not wanted to spend the emotional investment to go through it, I think it's just something that we repress and we just keep down into our bodies, and it remains as tension. And I just feel like on the other side of that, like just like 12 hours or 20 hours on the other side of that, again, it's another, just the way that I woke up today. I was just ready to have a great day. And it was just another pillar the argument to feel it. If it's there, feel it and let it come through you, and you'll be back on the upswing in no time.
Yep, it's that old open the door and welcome it in.
Yeah,
I think rainy days are the best for that,
yeah.
especially if your plans have been sort of waylaid because you have nothing to sort of say, oh, I have to get to
Hmm.
da 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 da. Da. You've just, like a whole day has opened up for you and you can just sit in the stillness of that day and because who wants to go out in the rain, outside when it's raining? Um, well, I don't anyway. But yeah, and then it's like the rain just washes it away. You just let the rain wash it away, right?
Yeah, I felt like that. I felt like really in communion with the weather. I did once it settled down. I was just kind of spitting. I took an umbrella and went for a little bit of a walk, and yeah, the weather fit my mood. And but it was good to be in it. And it's nice, like you say, that having the rainy day kind of wipes out your day. At least if your life's set up like mine, or if you work outside, or anything, if your plans get canceled, that's a great time. It's a great time to feel what you're feeling and to kind of go into it and really honor where your biorhythm is.
Yeah, just that acknowledgement of, yeah, today's just one of those days is always good. I don't take enough of them. I don't think actually. um, because I will say, okay, today I'm going to go, I'm going to just sit in my office all day and relax and let whatever's going on come through and see the truth about things and, you know, write in my journal and um, whatever, that day brings me. And then I get in there and it's like, oh, I have to wash the dishes. Oh, I have to go and do some sewing. Oh, I have to, so my mind just, and then I get up like yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, Wednesday, I guess it was. I was like, okay, Wednesday, everybody's out back to work and I've got this time. And I was feeling kind of, like you were saying, it's like, just low energy and, you know, wasn't feeling very happy in any shape or form. Okay, but today's a good day. I'm just going to go and I'm going to be with it and I'm going to sit with it. And I get in my office and I sit on my couch and I'm like close my eyes for 2 minutes and I go, oh shoot, I have Dancing with the Stars to watch. It was the finale, and then I'm gone. It's like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I I'm human.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm imperfect like everybody else, and I don't know. It kind of, I kind of wonder if those moments where I do that is where there's something I don't want to look at, like something I really am avoiding. What are the chances? But it's not going to go away until I do. So eventually I'll get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and thanks for sharing that because I mean, my goodness, I've done that so many times as well. Like like thousands of times. And I think also, when we feel uncomfortable, it's also sometimes it's difficult. I find that when I like lay down, or like when I know that I need to like kind of process something, and I just kind of like lay on my bed, and that's kind of the way that I like to meditate, with my on my back with my palms up and kind of spread eagle, if you will. And I know that sometimes if like some of the stuff starts to bubble up, not only do I not want to feel it, um, generally, but it also makes me like anxious to like move my body and to like go activate my body in some way, and it's like a
Yeah.
double it's a double temptation. I don't want to feel it, and because it's starting to feel uncomfortable, I feel like I have this energy I need to like shake off or go do something. And it could be just something as simple as getting up, taking 4 steps, and going on my computer, which really doesn't activate the body, but I don't know, it kind of tricks me into thinking I did.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that can be really difficult to sit with because you get scared almost. It's almost like, no, this is actually a bad idea. There's a way
Yeah.
better idea over there.
Why, yeah. Why did I think this was going to be fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what the point where a lot of people get stuck is that they try to do that sitting in the stillness to allow whatever needs to come up to come up. It starts to come up and they panic because they're so afraid of the bad feelings. And I don't know. I used to be very much that way, but now it almost feels good. And not in the way of I'm going to lose myself in the drama of whatever I'm feeling, but it's that freedom that you feel afterwards. So the final moment, like, because we tend to stop at the moment before we actually let go,
Yeah.
and that just increases the tension. If we stay that extra few minutes to the point of letting go, it is like a release and a freedom, and it's like, oh my god, that's done. You know what I mean? And it's but we get stuck in that spot, and I know so many people will get stuck in that spot of, okay, I can't take this any further because they're so afraid of what might come up. um, but in all my experience, nothing's been that scary once it's come up. It's, again, like I always say, that moment before you cross the threshold is always the scariest, the worst, the most intense. And we just need to cross the threshold. But I didn't the other day. I didn't cross the threshold.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's days that, you can steel yourself and be brave enough to do it. And there's other days where, you get distracted, or it comes to the moment you just would rather not. And yeah, it's important to like endeavor to let go. Um, but also give ourselves some self-compassion and forgiveness when we don't. But that was a great line. We stop at the point where we're just about to let go, and that can happen with you're trying to feel something in meditation, or that can apply to anything in life. That next big step in a career, or that next big um, uh, pursuit that you have, or it can even happen in relationships where you don't want to give all the way because you're afraid of what's on the other side of it, or that you don't know what to do once you let go because maybe there's nothing to do except for just fall. But that can also be super exhilarating, and we know that. We know that's the best. It's like that skydiving. Of course we're going to hang onto that door, and they're going to count to 3, and they're going to push you at 2 because yeah, we don't want to let go. We don't actually want to do it when we're right on the threshold of it.
And that's why I won't go skydiving.
Yes. Yeah.
But I get your point.
Yeah. it's
I can
it's
get your
funny.
point with both feet on the ground. It's okay.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. My I was at my dad's the other day, and he was building this little like playhouse in the back of his property there. But he lives out kind of in the country, and there's a skydiving place that's 2 miles away. And so, like, basically all afternoon on nice afternoons, you see like planes spiraling up into the sky, and then it goes away. And then maybe about 10 minutes later, you start to see the people and their parachutes open,
Falling.
and you hear this with their parachute unraveling, and then there's like 4 of them always coming down in the air. It's just, yeah,
That must be so cool, though. to watch it.
It's kind of, yeah, it's kind of funny to watch, and it's kind of funny to think about how, like, how exhilarating and how unbelievably scary that is to somebody who hasn't done it. Um, and then I started thinking about the mundane aspect of what your everyday was if you were like a professional skydiver and you just took all these, general population. You basically, watching this plane go up, because I was there for like 2.5 hours, and this plane went up like 4 times in the 2.5 hours. And so basically these workers jump out of a plane like 10 times a day. And I
Yeah.
think at some point it's just like,
Is it not
if it,
boring?
yeah, it feels like it would like be like driving a city bus or something where you're doing the
Yeah.
same route and you're just like, okay, well, I've done one jump and I still got 9 to go before I can punch the clock. It just seems,
Pack the parachute. It's like all the whole
yeah,
thing, right?
exactly. It would
Yeah.
seem.
It's
Started
not
thinking
my
about it, like,
idea of fun, I'll tell you that.
yeah, I wonder how long it stays fresh. Maybe if you have a passion for it, maybe. But
Yeah.
I have to imagine myself, I would probably get bored by about week 2 of that job.
Yeah, I think I would too if I had any inclination to do it.
And you're always dealing with people's like resistance too, right? Like you're
I
strapped to them,
know.
like your stomach's on their back, and it's like the same.
Yeah,
You're
some
watching the
screaming
same fear.
maniac.
Yeah, you're watching the same fear process go through everybody. Yeah, and then you have them screaming in your face.
Yeah. But isn't that kind of the same with anything? Like you get really excited about a project or a job or whatever, and after you do it a few times, it's like, is this still like you really have to have that passion, I think, in order for it not to get boring or mundane or, you know, just here I go again. I think you really do have to have a lot of passion for it. And I don't know, I think there has to be a little bit of variety and variation in it. Um, like for me with coaching, I never get tired of it because I'm very, very passionate about it, and I always have something to say, as you all know. But also, it's just slightly, you're working with different personalities, and it's slightly different. Although at our core, we all have the same fears, and it's all pretty much the same. The details and how it manifests itself are so different. I just find it really interesting, and I think, yeah, I don't know that I would ever get tired of that. But I think there's a lot of other things I would get tired of. I'll let you know after I've made 6 shirts if I'm tired of that, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah,
So, um,
yeah,
I think when it's creative, it's more like when you're creating something or co-creating something, I think it's a little bit more interesting. And maybe that's what that is for people. Maybe they're creating something in there. I think it's all how you look at it, really.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think I definitely agree that creating has something to do with it, and having a passion for it. But yeah, also, having it be a purpose behind it, or it be your purpose, and also have an emotionally compelling reason to do it. Yeah, I think that can provide you with a lifetime of fuel to pursue things in that direction, for
Yeah.
sure. And I think that's tough too. Like even when because I do work with kids and stuff like that, and they hear all this talk about do what you're passionate about. It's like, well, how do I know what I'm passionate about? How do I know what my purpose is? And all these things. And yeah, it's kind of a mix where you kind of like, it feels almost like particle board. Like, oh, I like this, and you kind of put it together, and eventually it becomes emotionally compelling reasons to toil in this area of life, or this area of study. Um, and it's tough to just look at passion, from afar and be like, well, what is it? Because I don't feel it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is in relation to my job or into something that I could do for a living. Um, yeah. And I think that sometimes just even that step alone will stop us from pulling ourselves out of the path that we're on, if we aren't satisfied with it.
Yeah, because how do you define passion? It's different for everybody, I think. I think it's a very
Yeah.
personal thing, and what you believe passion to be is, going to be totally different than what I believe it to be, and the feelings that that passion elicits in us is going to be totally different from person to person. I feel strong, I feel intelligent, I feel important, I feel, whatever the feeling is that it's going to give you, um, and give you time and time again, not just, you do it once and okay, I'm done. Um, Time and time again, it gives you that feeling that you're looking for.
Hmm.
Or, yeah, I shouldn't say gives you the
You know,
feeling you're looking for, but um, brings up the feeling that you're looking for, reminds
yeah,
you of the
yeah,
feeling
and
that you're looking for. I don't want to
yeah,
mislead people into thinking that, the feelings they're looking for are outside in the world, because like that's not what we teach, right?
yeah, yeah, and especially that's not what the course teaches.
No, exactly.
I think it's always interesting. It's something I go back to all the time. Six human needs, being certainty, uncertainty, growth and contribution, significance, and loving connection. Those things, and if we can find those things in what we do for most of the day, I think that we live a very contented and fulfilling life. And I think it's important, as and I'll say it again because for me, it's been a
Yeah.
really good checklist for me when I've been like about to commit to something that's going to be more than a day or two. And it's we need to have a need for certainty. We have a need for uncertainty. We have a need for growth, contribution, significance, and loving connection. And find those things in our work or in our play. That
Significance, did you say? Sorry. And loving
certainty, uncertainty, contribution.
loving connection. That's pretty, yeah, that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? Um, and I think passion fulfills just about all of those. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, and it can also help us when we've lost our when something that we do has lost its luster, and we can go through this list and try to find ways. When you say it's all in how you look at it, that's absolutely true. Maybe there's a situation where we've committed to and that we're in, we can't get out of with great ease right now. But looking at it through new eyes and looking at it through the filter of this list, trying to find things in our day that satisfy each one of these needs. And if we can put an extra focus on it, or if we can call out an aspect of that job or that task that we do, I think that we can increase our pleasure from it as we look at it with new eyes, even if something that we've been doing for a really long time.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that the creativity, I think, is a part of that and really brings that out in it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. How are we going to show up into that space and create um, in all the ways that we can, in all the ways that we can show up and offer our incredible gifts as a human. um, yeah, I think there's lots of forms that creativity can take. But yeah, I think creativity is critical. You don't want to just show up and not affect your surroundings, or not change or not grow,
Yeah.
where it is you're toiling.
Yeah. And just as a general notation, creativity is not, it's like some people um, think that creativity, because of all the crafty things I do, and, with cooking and baking and sewing and all that stuff, people say, oh, you're so creative. I've got a creative bone in my body. That's not crafty and painting and, you know, those types of arts, the arts, if you want to call them that, is not the singular definition of creativity. You can be a very creative person in the way that you troubleshoot things, in the way that you see the world, in the way that you create solutions for different um, problems, the way you troubleshoot, the way you resolve conflict, all those things. There's so many things in life that creativity, where you can be creative. And just because you can't pick up a paintbrush and paint a beauty, the Mona Lisa, does not mean that you're not creative. Or just because you can't bake a cake or, sew a shirt or whatever. I don't particularly think sewing a shirt is creative. I have a pattern, I cut it out. It's not like I designed this shirt, although I did do a little adjustment on something yesterday. That was creative because I thought beyond what the pattern was telling me. So yeah, that was kind of creative. I was like looking outside the box and seeing things in a very, and just, I don't know, like there's so many different ways that creativity manifests itself, and I think we narrow it down to certain things and exclude ourselves from that um, idea that we are creative beings. So I just kind of like to make that clear because I know I've had this conversation with people before and they go, oh, I'm not creative. And I say, but yes, you are. You just aren't seeing what you're doing as creative, but it is creative,
Yeah.
right? Um, so yeah, I think it's really important that people know that.
Yeah. Anything you affect is creativity. Can you make a kid laugh? Can you create a happy interaction where there wasn't one? Yeah, all sorts of these things. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, it is important to point it out and to call into how wide or the breadth of the definition of creativity so that we can give ourselves some credit, so that we don't say things like, oh, I'm not creative, therefore I must just show up at a job and just punch the clock at something. You don't, you know, it's a false equation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think actually creativity is a much better word than manifesting,
Mm.
because I think the whole manifesting thing is kind of a little bit out of control. Um, yeah, and, um, and that's really, and this is, I used to be. Don't get me wrong. I used to be all about the manifesting. Was part of
Hmm.
my whole shtick. But A Course in Miracles has really opened my eyes to a lot of that, a lot of stuff, which is, which I see as more New Age than actual spirituality. Um, I feel like New Age is the whole idea of being spiritual and the modalities that are there for you to use on your spiritual path. But spirituality is really actually taking the work you've done with those modalities and then doing the work, your own personal work, to travel that path and to grow and to deepen and to really seek and find the truth of who you are, beyond all the human muck and mire and all the things that um, we as humans do and say on a regular basis that are totally coming from ego. So
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yes, the manifestation and the New Age can, like any subculture, it starts off with a powerful message, and then it morphs into a superfluous uh, ritual. Um,
yeah, absolutely. And I think it can become the magic pill as
mhm.
opposed to really taking a good honest look at what your mindset is and where your thinking is, and how you're making yourself a victim, and um, how you're walking in the world. um, I think it can sometimes be a distraction and a quick fix, and the deeper, more um, lasting healing comes from taking the information that you've received from whatever that session was that you had, and then taking it into your life and walking in your life through the knowledge of that information, that honesty, that what you've learned about yourself, and shifting it and changing your mind and your belief about how you are in the world, and how you are inside.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever seen the comedian JP Sears? He's on
Was
YouTube,
he
and
the one that does all the meditation sort of?
yeah, with the long red hair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I've seen quite a few of his. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it
yeah.
because I think part of the spiritual path is you have to have a sense of humor. You have to look at yourself as a human being and laugh because, really some of the things we do when we start to learn and know better are laughable.
Yeah.
And I think we need to have a sense of humor about it. I mean, even the Dalai Lama has a sense of humor,
Mm,
right?
yeah. Yeah, he
Uh,
does a really good job making fun of the subculture of spirituality
oh
and
yeah, yeah. Um, and you know what? It's like church, religion.
mm,
There's a place for everything, and I'm not saying anything bad about it. I am saying it's just a step on the journey. It's not the journey.
mhm.
Um, I've I've done that, and now I'm like suddenly learning. Oh yeah, there's a deeper place you can go, and so I'm sort of looking at it with hindsight rather than um, rather than from any and from the experience of it. you know I've had the experience of it. I've um, looked at the different um, ways in which you travel this journey, and yeah, I started with religion because that's how I was raised, and then and I was a very I was a very good little Catholic girl. I mean, when I was 7 years old, something like that, I got up every morning during Lent and walked to church and went to mass and then went to school after with my little breakfast in a tin. Um, yeah, I was like totally. But I think it was that connection to the divine that was the draw for me. It wasn't all the rules and the regulations and the rights and all these things. It was that connection that I was looking for. And I have sought that connection in many different ways. And I think I finally found the way that works for me. And that's A Course in Miracles. I mean, um, there is a lot of talk about Jesus and God in A Course in Miracles, but I think going in, if you are still hung up on the religious view of God, then it's going to be difficult for you. Like we've had people quit over the fact that different reasons. One person quit because they said they liked their ego way too much. Thank you very much, and they weren't giving it up. and and other people said, no. I was raised Catholic, and this God stuff, no. But in the course, God is something totally different than what you are taught through religion. So I don't know how I got on that topic. I'm all over the place today, but there you go.
Yeah. No, no, you're just talking about how, the different modalities of ways that you go through searching for that, that divine connection. And yeah, going through some of those, you can't avoid all the subculture and doing it yourself because that's just a stage that you're at when you get into it, whether it be a religion or a new religion or something new age or some other subculture to find some sort of identity, to find some connection to something bigger than yourself. Yeah, we have to go through those stages, and each one provides us, you know, a spot to learn a whole bunch of new stuff, and then we get caught up a little bit in it, and then we decide for ourselves afterwards through continued inward looking. We decide for ourselves what's valuable there, and do we continue, or do we continue to move on, or do we adjust it in many ways, or do we keep 7% of it and we make up our own 93? Yeah, it's just part of the journey. I think that's all that you were highlighting. I think it was right on point.
Yeah. Thank you. That was pretty much what I was trying to say. I don't know if I said it, very clearly, but yeah, that was what I was trying to say. And then I think there comes a point when it all falls away.
Mm.
And that can happen, while you're still inhabiting this human body, um, which I think is starting to happen for me. And I'm like, by no means am I there yet. And for some people, it doesn't happen till the point of the death of the body when everything falls away. And so, but I think it will happen to all of us in one way or another. That everything falls away and none of it matters, not even the body. And that's like, that's going really quite deep. But yeah, and that's kind of what that's my course right now. What I'm studying right now is that whole idea that the importance we put on the body is not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's kind of a tool to have a good time while we're here. Yeah.
yeah, just enjoy the moment.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, we've used up more than our half hour, and it feels so quick. But
And
it'd
did
be
we cover
awesome.
our topic? No.
So, second week in a row, we got derailed at the first question. We'll eventually get this one through, though.
But here's the thing though, I like, I kind of like that because
Yeah.
it's more organic and it just follows the flow of our conversation. And
Mhm.
who knows, maybe that's what it's supposed to be today.
Yeah, exactly. That is what it's supposed to be today.
It is because that's what it is. That's what it was. So.
That's right. So, how do you feel about finishing us off with a meditation?
Oh, I always feel good about that.
Good.
So
Good.
I will do that. So let's close our eyes and take a deep breath and breathe deeply into our beautiful bodies that offer us the ability to have this human experience, whatever it is for each of us, whatever it turns out to be, wherever our path takes us. We travel in these human bodies for this lifetime, and we search for the deeper meaning of all things, but most especially of who we are. And in breathing into this space within us where the stillness lies, we are able to, even if only briefly, touch upon that which we are. And again, with practice, with frank honesty, with deep understanding of ourselves and the patterns that we have developed through our lives, and the changing of those patterns and the shifting of those beliefs, and the constant awareness and questioning of the thoughts, we can touch on that which we are more and more with each passing day. And we can feel the loving presence that is the source of who we are. And we can express ourselves in the world as love. And we can see the image of that love in those around us and in the world. And we can see all the aspects of God presenting themselves to us and asking, can you love me like this? And we can learn to love them no matter what they are, how they are, no matter how loving or how badly they are searching for love. We can stand in the loving presence and hold that loving space for those who aren't able to do it for themselves. And so, as you breathe into this space, remember that it is always sitting in silence, waiting for you to find your way home. And when you're ready, wiggle your fingers and your toes and bring yourself back to the room.
That was nice, Bettina. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hmm. Well, thanks everybody for watching this week, and we'll see you all again next.
Have a great week, everyone.